Okay. So, I know it's almost a week late, but the way I celebrated the 4th of July was I watched Godzilla versus Hedorah. And this is genuinely the first movie to challenge the original Gogeta as being my favorite. I don't think it tops it. I would still say of the 12 movies I've seen, because I've seen Godzilla vs. Gigan as well. And again, I'm not including other movies I've already seen, like in the MonsterVerse or Shin Godzilla. Of the first 12 movies we've watched as part of this marathon, this is number two. And I know for quite a few of the movies, like Three Headed Monster, Astro Monster, Destroy All Monsters, there was this, like, this is a contender for being my second favorite. Maybe it beats those other contenders, but here's what the other contenders have over it. This one is like, no, this is firmly, strongly number two. Like, if I was rating all of these, and when I'm done with these, of course I'm going to do a tier list. This, I think, would be an S tier film to the point where I don't know if I would be able to put Three Headed Monster, Astro Monster, or Destroy All Monsters in S tier. They're strong A tiers. This is an S tier movie. So why do I like it so much? There's a few elements as to why. Number one, it's just weird. There's a lot of oddities in this movie that you don't really get in other Godzilla movies. Like, there's these animations every now and then just about Hedorah and like some of the shit it can do. It's like in All Monsters Attack, there was the whole thing with the kid who like idolized Godzilla, and Manila would have like these fantasies about them. And I thought it could almost work for what the movie was doing, but by the end it just didn't. Here, there's also this kid with this connection to Godzilla, but it's almost this weird Final Destination shit where he'll just have a vision of Godzilla and go, oh shit, Godzilla's coming, which means Hedorah is about to be here, and then Hedorah does crazy shit. Um, the movie I mean, quite a few Godzilla movies like start with music, and sometimes it'll be a vocal track. Here, it was almost like a Bond opening in how like the music was going, and then as it went on, I'm like, okay, this is not exactly like a Bond style song, but we almost had this weird Bond song about like pollution and saving the planet. And then later you get that same song and it's being performed live, and someone in the crowd is having this weird hallucination where all the people around him are wearing fish heads. And I don't know why it's there. I don't know what it adds, but I'm glad it was there. I enjoyed it. There's another scene later where basically all the teens are like, dude, like, Japan is fucked because of Hedorah. We're just gonna go to Mount Fuji and basically have our own Woodstock. And they do, and it's kind of a nice time. And then it just cuts to this family, to this group of friends, I don't know, who are just sitting there watching them, and they cut to them like once or twice more, and I'm like, okay, who the fuck are these people? Is this important? Are they, are these main characters, and I just like didn't recognize them like amongst the tall grass or like in the sulfuric acid cloud pin in just Hedorah in general. I'm like, what are they about to do something because these kids are trespassing on their land? Nope, they're just there and they just get cut to a couple times. It's weird, but okay, you do you, movie. Let's take the pen out and just talk about Hedorah. I love this thing. This is easily one of, because I'm gonna do a tier list for all the movies. I'm gonna do a tier list for all the monsters. Hedorah at this point is easily an S tier monster. What I loved about it is, okay, so first off, it's an alien rock. Like, okay, so you got the kid who can see Godzilla. His dad is a biologist, and he's the one that does a lot of analysis into what Hedorah is. He's the one who finds out his weaknesses. What was it? It was something like it involved electricity, but I think it was specifically like pumping it full of oxygen, which to me is kind of interesting. It's like, how'd you kill Godzilla in the first movie? Removed all the oxygen. How'd you kill Hedorah? I think it's by pumping it full of oxygen. Okay, that's kind of interesting. But he notes that this is not an animal or a vegetable, it's a mineral. It is this alien fucking rock. And as the movie goes on, Hedorah starts to change its appearance and evolve, and so the entire time I'm like, dude, this thing is a fucking Pokemon. Okay, so its first form is this little sludgy tadpole, and given its whole thing, it's definitely a poison type. I would. I don't know if I'd say pure poison, because given the fact that it is this alien rock thing, I guess you can make it rock. I think Nihilego is also poison rock. And given the thing that, yeah, given the fact that Hedorah is an alien, I guess could maybe make it an Ultra Beast too. But I mean, Deoxys is an alien, but it's not an Ultra Beast. Anyways, but so it's this little sludge tadpole thing. I mean, it's not little; it's still big. Then it evolves and becomes this bigger, sludgy frog that starts literally sucking and feeding on fumes and on smoke. It fights Godzilla. There's a part where Godzilla grabs Hedorah and starts, "So long, Bowser!" and just throws him. And as he's spinning him, there's just sludge flying everywhere, and it ends up landing on these people and then just like dissolves them. Hedorah comes back later, evolves again, and becomes this giant UFO that is flying around. And as I'm looking at it, because I saw Nope not too long ago, I'm like, why the fuck does Hedorah now look like Gene Jacket? And everywhere this thing flies, it just has this death aura, where if you're too close or you're in its range, not only will it knock you out and kill you, it'll just dissolve your skin. You see Hedorah fly past, this metal structure, and then the metal just starts melting and concaving. This thing is so cool! Also, if it was a Pokemon, I guess that would probably be its ability, is that it just, either on switch or on contact, it releases toxic fumes. That's definitely not just poison, that's badly poison. So like, oh, you hit this thing, bam, now you get toxic. Which, that's bullshit, but power creep, why the fuck not? Then Hedorah gets another form, with like a much bigger one that it can just turn, like, it just starts switching between that form and the UFO form. I'm like, cool, now it mega evolves. I guess it's a dark type now, because it has this laser. I'm like, I guess it's just spamming dark pulse. What the fuck? It interrupts Woodstock, and the kid's like, it's afraid of fire, and I don't even know if that's true, but they just start throwing torches at it, and as it's going, it's like, no, they're like hitting Hedorah in the face. They've got some good arms on them. And then they all like fucking die, or some of them die because Hedorah is a problem. There's a point in the movie where, in addition to its just death aura, there's just sulfuric acid everywhere, to the point like it is a mist covering Tokyo and a lot of Japan, and it gives it this Silent Hill look, where there's just this acidic fog where if you go outside you will fucking die. It is wild. So now let's talk about Goji. Godzilla's character in this movie is really interesting to me, because as I was watching the movie, especially at the end, because he fights Hedorah a couple times, like twice or thrice throughout the film, and I think like the individual fights are all really good. During the final fight, I noticed how angry and vicious Godzilla was. Like, I've seen Godzilla fight enemies, and a lot of the time he'll just like throw rocks at them. Or I think the most vicious I have seen Godzilla be in a movie, excuse me, is either fighting Ibira, when he rips off the claw and then starts taunting him with it, or in Destroy All Monsters when everyone's teaming up on Ghidorah and he's just like stomping on his head and shit. This felt brutal. This felt personal. Like, there's a part in the movie, I don't remember when it was, I know it was during the climax, where he just hits Hedorah with an atomic breath, and I remember saying to Clay, I was like, I could feel the fuck you in that. He hates this thing. Like, the humans end up setting up this thing where it's like, alright, if we activate it, we can, fry Hedorah with oxygen, and Godzilla walks up to it and blasts it with atomic breath to turn it on, to destroy this thing, and then he, like, rips out Hedorah's eyes, and he, like, crushes them, and he's just watching this thing die. And then Hedorah gets up and flies away. And Godzilla, who fucking hates this thing at this point, and there's even a point in the movie during this fight where Hedorah like beats the shit out of Godzilla, knocks him out, picks him up, flies him over, drops him on a mountain. Godzilla falls down the mountain into a hole. And as Hedorah is standing over him, this sludge starts like spewing down his body and going into the hole. And I was like, is he pissing on Godzilla? Holy shit. This is disrespect. And then Godzilla gets pissed and fucks him up, like rips out his eyes and shit. And then Hedorah flies away. And Godzilla, who is so pissed off, starts flying. He atomic breaths onto the ground, and it sends him into the air, and he flies back, grabs Hedorah, picks him up and slams him, and picks him up and slams him, and picks him up and slams him. And I was talking, I just actually did the Gigan video, how there's a part in Gigan where he does something similar to Ghidorah, he just grabs him by all three heads and starts suplexing him, and how in that movie, because of the way the fight is done with all the stock footage and reused footage, it just feels like they took the same thing and kept showing it, I guess, to pad the runtime. Here, though, it really just felt like Godzilla saying, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Then he atomic blasts him again, picks him up, atomic breath flies back to the thing, holds Hedorah in place like he's fucking Goku with Raditz, and is waiting for the humans to turn this shit on. They don't turn it on, and you can feel Godzilla just saying to himself, I gotta do fucking everything myself. Atomic breaths again. Hedorah gets fried, and then, looking at Hedorah's body, Godzilla just starts clawing into it, and just grabbing all of, like, Hedorah's innards, throws it on the ground, throws it on the ground, throws it all on the ground, blasts again, so every fucking speck of this creature is destroyed, like he was fighting Majin Buu, and if there's a piece left, Hedorah will come back. I don't even know if Hedorah works like that. I think Godzilla just hated it that much. He wanted it destroyed and deleted. I won't lie. Watching Godzilla fly, watching just how angry and vicious he was, to me it was hilarious. I'm like, I've never seen Godzilla like. I think he also threw a rock at him at one point. Like, he got a signature move in there. But I was just laughing. Like, I had such a good time, and by the time the movie was done, like, I was laughing so hard for so long, I felt like I was high. It was like, dude, like, I think even Clay was like, I think the lack of oxygen to your brain from laughing kind of fucked you up a little bit. But there was something I read. I don't remember where I read this. Might have been like Twitter or TV Tropes or something. Is a theory of the movie. Is earlier in the movie, when he first meets Hedorah, Godzilla is fighting him. Again, so long, Bowser. But he's not as vicious as he is by the end of the movie. And there's a lot of points where he's just talking to him, you know, and, you know, doing a lot of, like, moving with his hands and shit. And the theory being, Godzilla is not trying to fight him. Godzilla is trying to talk to him. And the reason Godzilla is trying to talk to him is because that's what Mothra did to him several movies ago. Specifically in Three-Headed Monster. I don't remember how much they really talked to Mothra v Godzilla, but in Three-Headed Monster, when Godzilla is fighting Rodan, it's Mothra who's like, hey, you two need to stop fighting because the planet needs us. Humanity needs us. That thing over there is a problem. And Godzilla tells her to go fuck herself, and Rodan tells her to go fuck herself. So Mothra says, okay, I'll fight him by myself. And it doesn't work out. And Godzilla at one point goes like, okay, I'm going to step in. And that is the first time Godzilla ever gets to be a hero. Or anti-hero, again, depending on the film. But it's the first time Godzilla is actively framed in a heroic light or as a protagonist. And ever since then, because I don't think there's been a movie since where Godzilla is the threat or the problem. Destroy All Monsters doesn't count because he's being mind controlled, and it also happens in Astro Monster. Like, aside from him being mind controlled of his own free will, Godzilla has not actively hurt humanity. Aside from collateral damage shit, but not trying to be a problem. And I think what happened here is Godzilla tried to like pay it forward. Like, hey dude, I don't know who you are, but you being here is hurting people. You don't have to be a monster. You don't have to destroy shit. Maybe we can work this out. And Hedorah has no intention of doing so. There's also points where he like spits in Godzilla's face and like starts burning one of Godzilla's eyes. Again, like Hedorah was vicious. And the fights were so cool. And I feel like as the movie goes on, like even in the second fight, Godzilla's kind of like, hey man, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. I can kick your ass, but I don't want to. I want to give you that chance. And Hedorah, not giving a fuck. So once you get to the end of the movie, and Godzilla is just thinking to himself, I tried. I tried to give him an out. I tried to offer him another way. And he is literally spat in my face almost every time. And then this asshole had the nerve to drop me on a mountain into a hole and literally piss on me. No. Hell no. I am the king of the monsters. Let me show you how I defend my crown. And just destroys this thing and obliterates this thing. And with this interpretation, I can almost feel it at the end of the movie. Like, as he's ripping Hedorah apart, it's not just this, like, I hate you, you piece of shit monster. He's almost, like, mad at himself that he has to resort to this. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I feel like Godzilla likes fighting shit. Again, after he beats a geezer on the moon, he's just fucking dancing. But it's, like, I tried to be the good kaiju. I tried to redeem another the way that I was, and I couldn't do it. Why? Why didn't you let me save you? And I find that really interesting. Like I said at the start, this is the only movie so far to challenge the original. And I think a big part of it is that interpretation of Godzilla, where I'm like, I can see it. And I like it a lot. And it makes him genuinely like a really interesting character to me. And like I said, I love Hedorah. I love watching this fucking demonic Pokemon fight, evolve, fuck shit up. I love how much of a threat he is. I love how much of a problem he is. The movie is weird. The movie is goofy. The movie is brutal. It's kind of everything I want from a Godzilla movie. Just want to see, like, is there anything else I really want to say about it? No. That was it. It's fantastic.